main players. Underneath, Barnes is surrounded by a trio. He tried to put LeBron in the popcorn machine. Blocked by James. Trailer! LeBron finishes with the dunk.
Oh, my goodness. Troy Brown Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of the Hoops FERRO podcast. It's yours truly, none other than Alfred Teleferro. Some know me as it's Mr. Teleferro. Some know me as FERRO, Hoops FERRO, whatever you want to call me, as long as you call it and more importantly watch it. I'm good with it. So we're doing something new this season in the NBA. We're doing a podcast, and this is going to be the way that I'm going to incorporate highlights as well. So kind of get acclimated to the platform. Let me know what you think in the upcoming days and weeks. I think it's going to be a great one. I think I got some magic here. One of the things about business that I'm learning as a 29-year-old man, still young, but definitely time is fleeing. I'm closing in on 30 here. One of the things I'm learning in business is you have to adjust. You cannot be selfish in your own ways and just not adjust with the climate. I just believed my format was just going to kind of live past whatever was going on in the world, right? And I just had to realize, you know, you can be selfish, but still be selfish within the system, right? And just, I cannot ignore podcasts anymore. So we're going to cater our videos a little differently. We'll still pull clips from the podcast and post those as well. But we're going to be posting podcasts first and foremost, night in, night out of the NBA season. So we're going to get you started here with the biggest story out of hoops in the last 24 hours. Less than a year out from the 2024 Olympics, and Team USA coming off of a disappointing 4th place finish at the FIBA World Cup with only 3 All-Stars on the roster and no one with prior men's basketball team experience. How about the king, the kid from Akron, LeBron James, is making some noise. According to Shams over at The Athletic, of the 3-time Olympian and 2-time gold medalist and the NBA's all-time leading scorer, LeBron has strong interest in one more Olympic run, and apparently he's already committed to next summer and has already called multiple stars to join him in Paris. Apparently, it's Steph Curry, it's Kevin Durant, it's Anthony Davis, it's Jason Tatum, and Draymond Green, and apparently all of those dudes are ready to commit with LeBron as well to next year's Olympics. Separately, according to Shams, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, and Kyrie Irving also have serious interest in committing. LeBron, who will be turning 39 in December, has not played for Team USA since the 2012 games in London. Kevin Durant, a 3-time Olympian and gold medalist, will be 35 next summer. Apparently, these two are viewing Paris as a last dance type of ordeal. That was a huge splash, a Shams bomb to kick off the day yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think 2 things. I think it's great that LeBron is recruiting and putting his energy behind one last Team USA run featuring himself and Kevin Durant. But can we not fast forward through the NBA season? I'm sorry, y'all. I love this game, and I kind of want to be excited about the NBA product. And the problem that I got with LeBron's pitch, it's himself and the players that he's got involved in the pitch. All of these guys are kind of like older and injury prone. LeBron's only giving me about 50, 55 games a year. Kevin Durant's only giving me about 50, 55 games a year. Steph Curry's only giving me about 55, 60 games a year. Anthony Davis sometimes only gives me about 45, 50 games a year. Draymond around the 50, 55, 60 game threshold as well per year. Don't you guys think y'all should maybe like worry about playing in the NBA first and worry about the Olympics like later down the line? I'm not so sure if all you guys are going to be healthy, knock on wood, to end the NBA season. Can we not fast forward through the 23-24 season, a season that I am very excited about? You guys are pretty much making $1 million per game played at this point. Can we not fast forward the NBA season just yet? I am happy that LeBron and KD are putting together this last dance type of ordeal. I think Team USA is going to go smack whomever is in front of them if they're able to put together this group of guys. LeBron, Steph, and KD on the court is just magic. I'm happy, but I still want to enjoy the NBA season. And I'm not so sure if these dudes who have a habit of missing significant time for their NBA teams, I'm not so sure if they should already be focused and teasing and leaking news about them joining the Olympics. It's a damn shame that we even got to go get our legends of this era to beat up on Dylan Brooks and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But that's what we got to go do. That's what we got to go do. So, yes, y'all, I am excited. Team USA has underwhelmed at a couple of these World Cups. Obviously finishing fourth. And it's not about us just finishing fourth. I mean, the world is getting better at basketball. I'm not tripping over that. I think the thing that bothers me the most is the competition that was on the other side. I mean, I don't think any country threw out their best squad, if I'm being honest with you. And like Dylan Brooks dropping 39 on Team USA in that fourth place game. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. So it's not the fact that Team USA lost. Like I said in my previous video, to me, the scary thing is when the talent is comparable, it appears that people from other countries just want it more than the guys we got from Team USA. We'll see if these guys do decide to go through with their commitments that they apparently have made behind the scenes. According to Shams.
Right at the rim. Reddish the other way. Dame, a deep one.
And Shams was not done with his reporting. According to Shams, Portland and Miami are going to re-engage before the start of training camps here the next 2.5 weeks to talk Damian Lillard again. According to Shams, at this point, the only two training camps that Damian Lillard would report to in theory are Portland and Miami. So if a team like Toronto, for instance, were to trade for Damian Lillard, Shams said he does not believe Dame would even report. Shams said, I believe the standing trade request would still be there if he were traded to a team like Toronto or anywhere else. Dame wants to be a Miami Heat, and his mind is being set on getting just there to South Beach. Dame's got $216 million left on his deal. He's 33 years of age. Dame wants to be a Miami Heat. And again, I was watching this clip on Twitter of the NBA 2K commentary for this year's iteration of the game. 2K24 already has Damian Lillard commentary as if he's a Miami Heat. I thought that was hilarious because more times than not at this point in the game, we do believe the home run trade is going to happen. I'm not so sure about this one, though. I do believe there is a big-time scenario and a significant chance the Portland Trailblazers just say, we tried. Miami ain't got the goods right now. We're going to keep Damian Lillard and move forward with the season. See, I believe there's a strong chance Portland does that. They can always trade Dame down the line. To me, the big crux, if I am a Portland Trailblazers front office worker, for me is the fact that Dame wants to play with Bam Adebayo. You know, in theory, if I'm Portland, I would love to get Bam around the young pieces that I got in Portland. He's still young enough to be able to grow with a young crop like Anthony Simons, obviously Scoot Henderson, and everything that Portland's got going, Shaedon Sharpe as well. Bam's still young enough to grow with those guys, but Dame wants to play with Bam. Hell, if I ain't know any better, it appears that Dame wants to play with Bam more than he does Jimmy. Obviously, Miami's not going to trade Jimmy Butler coming off of the run that he just had. The way he beat Giannis and the Bucks alone, it bought him not only the remainder of his contract, Jimmy's about to get another big-time extension. That's my belief, at least. So you're not trading Jimmy Butler. He's one of Pat Riley's guys. And Dame wants to play with Bam, and Miami knows that Dame wants to play with Bam. And by the way, Bam was really good, and I thought he was the Miami Heat's best player in the finals against the Denver Nuggets overall. If I am Portland, that just doesn't sit well with me that I can't even get the other team's second best player. I think Damian Lillard, if I had to bet on it right now, and I've changed my mind like 25,000 times this offseason, I think right now my bet is that Dame will be a Portland Trailblazer to start the season. I think things will start to get ugly. Look, I've been warning Dame on this platform for years now. Like, yo, Dame, bro, things got to get ugly. That's just the way of the land in the NBA. You know, you're on one of those teams that if we're being honest, their ownership group has had some change. They've had some depth. They've had some things go on where I look at it as I don't think basketball is on the back burner for that ownership group, but I definitely don't think it's in the forefront, right? And my thing is, I always felt like Dame was going to have to force himself out of Portland, and playing that nice guy role is the way Dame wanted to approach this bad boy, this loyalty to the soul type of ordeal. My question for Dame on this platform for years has been, how much loyalty does Dame owe Portland because they took a chance on a young kid out of Weber State? That's been my question from the jump. I understand it. I get it. Portland drafted Dame. Maybe he would have fell a couple more spots. I don't know. But clearly it was the right move by them. And I'm looking at it as, yo, Dame, don't feel like you owe them so much. You came to that program. You came to that team and delivered. You came ready to play basketball. So give yourself more credit. You've been a businessman, a loyal one at that, for over a decade now. I don't think loyalty to Portland because they drafted you should go any further than a decade. That seems a bit extreme to me. That seems like an extreme loyalty to me. But hey, to each his own. I think Dame's going to start this year off as a trailblazer.
One of the reasons why the Rockets' three-point shooting has been so poor is they've had some tired legs. And so far, it's kind of worked. And there we go. That's another one for KPJ.
Houston Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested and charged with assault and strangulation of his girlfriend on Monday, a team source confirmed to The Athletic. A New York Police Department spokesperson told The Athletic a 911 call was placed at the Millennial Hilton Hotel at 6:45 a.m. When officers arrived, there was a woman at the location with lacerations to her face. EMS transported the woman to an area hospital. She was in stable condition. By the way, the woman that is believed to be a part of this is a WNBA player that Kevin Porter has been dating, by the way. The Athletic said the league is aware of the reports, and they are gathering information with the Houston Rockets. When asked for comment, the Rockets said it is in the process of gathering information surrounding the matter involving Kevin Porter, and they have no further comment at this time. It's worth noting that Kevin Porter, a 2019 first-round pick that has been troubled, by the way, has played with Houston the last 3 seasons after being traded from Cleveland. Houston re-signed him to a 4-year deal last October, $82.5 million. Definitely one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Kevin Porter averaged about 10 points last year. It's one of the worst contracts in the NBA. And listen, I have a rule, and a lot of people are not going to agree with this rule, but I don't care. If I can tell that you listen to NBA YoungBoy and you're not an all-star level player, I don't want you on my team. Now, I know people think I'm ridiculous with some of my opinions and my takes, but trust and believe. Y'all know I cover basketball half of my time. The other half, I'm an elite music journalist as well. I know music very well. And I can't explain it fully to you guys, but I'll put it to you like this. There is a wave of fans that not only love rappers like NBA YoungBoy, they think they're him. And be clear, I come up in the era where we were fanned out of certain artists and how they moved and how they represented themselves. And some of it, as kids, we probably ain't had no business being fans of. We probably ain't had no business listening to their music. I was a fan of 50 Cent as a kid. Take it a step further, I like me a little R&B music as well. I used to like Cisco, Drew Hill. My life consists of me enjoying many different artists at many different iterations in their careers, and I was fanned out of them. But I always felt like the people that I liked were fly. Like Cisco was headlining stadiums, arenas, all over the world, you know, singing the ladies, right? Trying to get his girl back. 50 Cent was like the most dominant street rapper ever. It was F you to everybody. I always thought the people that I championed as a kid, they were cool to me. The problem is that the rappers that I see today, they ain't cool to me. And I'm watching the young bulls try to capture uncool. And if I see that you're an NBA YoungBoy fan and you got your nails painted, I don't want you on my roster. That gets me back to Kevin Porter. You know, I thought Steven Silas, the former head coach of the Houston Rockets, the son of the late, great Paul Silas, I thought he was way over his head with this team. I always knew Steven Silas was going to get the boot. I always knew that. If you remember back, Steven was like crying on the day that Kevin Porter got his new deal. I was like, why are you crying over a Kevin Porter extension? Kevin Porter is one of those guys. You got a lot of these dudes in the league. They're incredible hoopers. I'm going to be honest with you guys. If Kevin Porter today went to any open gym, if he went to Chris, C. Brinkley's gym, if he went to Rico Hines' gym, if he went anywhere in America and you lined him up against guys like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, the crazy thing is, in an open run, Kevin Porter might have the best day. He's a hooper. We've seen guys like this before. I call him the Steven Jacksons of the NBA. Kevin Porter is a hooper. He can score with anybody, period. I'm talking about anybody, period. He's a J.R. Smith. The problem is guys like Kevin Porter, they don't like structure. That's the difference. From what I've seen, they don't like structure. This is not the first time we've heard of Kevin Porter in an incident with a young lady where reports have surfaced about physicality. I mean, obviously, look, man, I'm married. I plan on having kids in the next couple years here. Come on, man. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, that ain't, I'm a lot of things. I'm not perfect. Number one, I'm not perfect. Putting your hands on your girl is, I don't care if you're 23, 12, whatever. That ain't nothing that I ever been, nothing that I've ever agreed with or anything that I've ever been good with. And, look, Adam Silver, the reality is a lot of guys look at Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, as somewhat of a pushover. I'm not saying that myself. I'm just saying that's how people look at him. And the reality is you could throw the hammer at Kevin Porter. Most likely, Ime Udoka, the Houston Rockets, they won't. So we'll see how long Kevin Porter is suspended for, because he's probably going to get suspended for this. The question is just for how long.
State Sacramento series a lot. As we get another turnover, Leonard with a great steal and down to the...
Well, Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN had a little bit of a Woj bomb as well. It just kind of got a little bit overshadowed by all of the Shams bombs throughout the day. According to Woj, the NBA is expected to get much more strict and have harsher punishments to limit the resting of star players for nationally televised games and in-season tournament games. And they're supposed to get much more harsher on multiple all-stars sitting out individual regular season games. This is what ESPN reported. The NBA's competition committee recommended a plan that the league's board of governors is expected to approve on Wednesday. It would ultimately give the league office authority for greater oversight over discipline for missed games and an ability to fine teams over $1 million for each instance of violating these new resting rules. As the league negotiates a new media rights deal, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the league, has been determined to increase player participation, and the league's goal is to strengthen the initial player resting policies that were adopted back in 2017-18. Obviously, you see them already incorporating the 65 regular season games, bare minimum, to be eligible for postseason awards. I'm going to read a little bit of the league memo, then I'm going to give you a little bit of my take. This is what was sent over, and ESPN obtained it. Teams must manage their roster to ensure that no more than one star player is unavailable for the same game. Teams must ensure that star players are available for national televised games and in-season tournament games. Teams must maintain a balance between the number of one-game absences for a star player in home games and road games, with a preference for those absences to happen in home games. And teams must refrain from any long-term shutdown or near shutdowns when a star player stops participating in games or plays in a materially reduced role in circumstances affecting the integrity of the game. I want to talk about that more in a second. Teams must ensure that healthy players resting for a game are present and visible to fans. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about all of this. So I think this is not going to work. None of this is going to work. And I'll just tell y'all the obvious in the room. And this has been the issue since day one. How can I tell a team, or how can I enforce rules with a team if a player tells me that I'm actually hurt? You can't go inside his body. That's the reality of it. You can't go inside his body and say, hey, bruh, are you hurt or not? Can you feel it in your elbow? Can you feel it in your knee? There's no way to do that, which means this is never going to work, because all these teams are going to do is get smarter about how they evaluate and how they diagnose injuries. That's all that's going to happen. So all of this mumbo jumbo about changing rules and getting harsher on rules and fining teams $1 million, which is real money, obviously, it ain't going to work, because teams are just going to find little ways to say, nah, my guy actually is dealing with a knee injury. He has a history of knee injuries. Like, how's that going to help anything with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George of the Clippers? We know for a fact they've been injured seriously in the past, have had multiple surgeries on their body. I think I just heard PG say he has had like 4 or 5 knee surgeries or something like that in his career. Like, we know he's had injuries. Like, nobody's ever saying like, yo, this dude is lying about injuries. We just like, yo, why are you guys getting injured so often? What are y'all doing wrong that allows LeBron James to play 75 games for 15 years straight, and you guys are struggling to get to 50 games, 55 games in the prime of y'all career? That's what we want to know. Like, that's the reality of what this comes down to. I just don't think this is going to work. And like I said to you guys earlier, you know, Adam Silver is going to be looked at, no matter how this ends for him, as a players commissioner. David Stern will go down as, to me, a middle ground official. To me, if I had to say one side or the other, I would say he was much more ownership friendly than player friendly, but I don't think he was the worst to players either. Roger Goodell is 1,000% an owner's commissioner. That's why he's getting raised. I think Roger Goodell's making like $64 million this year with the NFL. This year. Not in his contract, this year. That just tells you how happy owners are with Roger Goodell running the show, because he's making them more money. And the reality is, I don't know how these media rights deals going to land. If you want to have a very long and nerdy conversation with me, find me at a sports bar in America and talk to me about sports. I like talking about nerdy things like media rights deals and all that great stuff. Y'all know I used to work at ESPN, so I'm always interested in talking about this stuff. I don't know how the next media rights deal is going to land with the NBA and their partners, their TV partners, because, you know, even though these guys are missing a lot of games, it's still live sports. And I expect gambling to pick up in a lot of these different states here over the next 5 years. I do expect a lot more of regions to adopt, you know, much more gambling within their state policies. And the more gambling becomes legal, even if guys are not playing, somebody's going to get out there and play. You can still gamble on those somebodies. You don't just have to gamble on stars, right? You know, Prize Picks is coming down the pipeline. They're starting to pick it up. Obviously, look, if you're watching a sporting event, every commercial break, you're going to see a gambling company promotion, right? You're going to see them in a commercial, right? That just tells you how big of a deal gambling is in our society. People got bookies any damn way. Like, sports is still the quintessential thing on television right now. They're the ratings draw. NFL #1, and everybody else falls in line after them. You know, when you're still able to draw 4 or 5 million people any given night on a game, like, there's still a lot of power in that. And part of me says, you know, Turner and ESPN and Disney, they're going to get tired of all these guys sitting out. The other part of me is like, but where else are they going to go? You know, the NFL's already locked up with certain situations, and it appears that the NFL's, they got their mind on things like Amazon and different type of partners going forward. It feels like they got their mind on streaming. They just unveiled the new YouTube TV thing that appears to be on its way to successful. Like, where's you going to go to get people to watch your channel, right? Like, people are not going to just sit there and watch Pat McAfee 9 hours a day and there's no live programming at night. You know, like, that's just not going to happen. Like, so I think you're going to have to balance where we are in society with how basketball is still cream of the crop television, but these guys, you have to find a way to play them more. To me, I have a solution, but it doesn't sound progressive. The only real solution to me, and I don't like how the NFL does running backs and some of their other players, depending on the position. I don't like it. But the reality is, if the NBA were a little more like the NFL, guys would value their dollars more. At this point, I'm looking at Kevin Porter. We just talked about him in a previous segment. Kevin Porter is making $80 million, and his mind is on beating on women. Like, the reality is these guys are taking these positions for granted. I don't look at these guys as guys that care about growing the product of the game. They just been kind of riding the backs of LeBron James and Steph Curry driven storylines for the last 12 years. So, no, I don't think these guys are like in the NFL, if you ain't on your P's and Q's one off season, your ass might be out the league. The average NFL, career is like, 3 years? These NBA dudes, they're getting money. Even if their career is only a couple years, they're getting paid within these couple years. And they don't care. By the time they do care, it's already too late. Their careers are already gone. So you got to find a way to get these guys to value what they got more. It cannot be all about LeBron James being the number one entertainer in this profession. And one thing that I don't think LeBron gets enough credit for, it's a lot of things I don't think he gets enough credit for, but one of the things I don't think he gets enough credit for, seriously, is the entertainment piece of the puzzle. When I got to ESPN, I tried to make highlights like I would like to see him. I was covering a Lakers game. I was covering a Kobe game one night, and it was like, this is like towards the end of Kobe's career, and I just went Kobe shot, Kobe shot, Kobe shot, Kobe shot. That was my highlight for the night. I think they were playing Portland. I got an F on this highlight, right? Apparently, in the midst of that game, Kobe had made the some 1,003 of his career, right? And I missed the whole point of the highlight. The highlight should have been about him breaking that record and Kobe after the game talking about the three-pointer and how it's becoming much more a part of the NBA game. That's what I should have had my highlight about. Instead, I just put together a few plays of Kobe, and I think I didn't put in the three-pointer that he made to break the record. My producer tagged into my ass that night, and he said, never forget, when you look at ESPN, the E comes before the S. Entertainment comes before sports. And I never forgot that. And I bring that up to say, I don't look at a lot of these guys as entertainers. Like entertainers, if you look at the elite ones, the Michael Jacksons of the world, the top tier entertainers. I'm watching Beyonce on tour right now. You don't think Beyonce has been dealing with women things that go on in their bodies once a month and other things? She's like 40, right? Like, you don't think she's sore? She's a top tier entertainer. Taylor Swift, they're going to get out there regardless. They're not missing no nights because people paid their hard-earned money to see them perform. And at the end of the day, people are paying their hard-earned money to see these basketball players perform, and oftentimes they're not able to be out there. And again, it's bothersome to the product. One of the things I saw is all-stars. If the team has multiple all-stars on a team, then you got to make sure the all-stars playing. Well, what the hell does that mean? If I'm a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an all-star. But to that market, Josh Giddey is an all-star. So what? Like, just because he's not an all-star, technically if Josh Giddey, which I don't think he's going to be the guy to do this, but technically Josh Giddey could sit out a lot of games because he's not technically an all-star? What the hell does that mean? Miami Heat, right? They don't usually get two all-stars because they don't take the regular season serious. So if Bam Adebayo gets the all-star nod again like he did last year, what, Jimmy Butler just going to be able to sit out more games because technically the Heat are not sitting multiple all-stars at a time? Technically Jimmy B's not an all-star? What does that mean? To each market, every team has their top players. And to a fan in Memphis that pays $150 to go see Desmond Bane just as much as Ja Morant, Desmond Bane not an all-star, but to that fan, he is an all-star. So I don't like that piece of the puzzle. I don't think this is going to work until the players have the pride in the product like the NFL does. I don't think, these rules are going to work because I do believe the league is just going to find ways around it. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode. This is a historic moment right here, damn it, of the Who's FERRO podcast. I got plans for you guys. I got plans for this platform. I got plans going forward, man. I cannot wait to see how creative I can get. So I want to thank you. If you got to this point, you truly believe in your boys. So thank y'all so much for that time, that love, and support that you guys have shown me. If you got to this point in the video, I don't know, comment Victor Wembanyama or something like that. Let me see if you can spell Wembanyama. How about that? Don't cheat me either. Don't go to Google. Try to spell Victor Wembanyama. So thank you so much for tuning in to the first episode of the Hoots FERRO podcast. I don't know exactly how frequent I'm going to get these out. Obviously, during the NBA season, the goal is to get one out every day. But we'll see how things go, see how the news cycle kind of runs. Time, love, and support is what your boy would never take for granted. Your boy Hoots FERRO. I'm out.